I noticed mason bees were hovering around my wall, so I decided last year I'd make try a little experiment, see what mason bees preferred. The little bees that tunnel into soft soil or soft masonry are a solitary bee. They make a little hole, they pack it with pollen, and on top of the pollen they lay an egg. And then they seal it up with soil. And the following year they all emerge. And so they've all emerged this year, and they're here on this nice warm day in May. And they seem to prefer going into these little bamboo canes. There's a little close-up of one. So this is the mason bee, and this is a little hunting spider. I don't know whether he's looking for something inside this hole or whether he's determining whether it would be a useful place to set up his own little ambush spot. Another very shiny mason bee. Usually they're quite sort of hairy, with sort of yellow hairs. This little thing is called a ruby-tailed wasp for obvious reasons. It's got this ruby tail and a bright blue thorax, sort of a ruby-coloured abdomen. It's a parasitic wasp, and it lays its eggs on the larvae of the mason bee. And this one's just gone down there, abdomen first. And I suspect it's probably going to lay an egg. There you can just see its head sticking out. Whether it's found a larva or not, I don't know. But mason bees are very nice to watch. Making a little thing like this is very, very easy. And of course they don't sting. It's a very active little thing. It sort of zooms about and there's antennae going 10 to the dozen there. Let's have another look in there. There you go, have a look in that one as well. There you can see a hole which is sealed up from last year. They haven't emerged this year. There you can see where the mason bees have metamorphed. There you can see where the last year's larvae have metamorphosed or changed into mason bees and tunneled their way out of their little soil cap. I tried all sorts of different size holes and they all seem to favour that size there. And on here, they weren't interested in the soil, and they weren't interested in this more peaty soil, but they did like the sand. And you can see there where last year they packed this with pollen, this hole with pollen, and blocked it up with soil. And they've emerged this year, and it leaves that little hole at the top where this year's mason bees have tunnelled their way out. They also didn't like the holes in the brickwork. If you made a hole the same size in the brickwork, they weren't very keen on it. None of these holes were used last year. But the ones they seem to be preferring are these, into these bamboo, just bits of old bamboo, and just sawed them up and tied them together in a big bundle. And the mason bees seem to prefer those. There's this little chap again. He's an indestructible little beggar. Oh, very bonny, he's quite a handsome little fella for an insect. Wolf spider. They sort of pounce on things rather than seem to make a net. Oh, sorry, rather than seem to make a web. They have big eyes, I know, great big eyes. Difficult to see mind on this with the camera. So you can create something there interesting for your garden. Just up from old bits, an old brick, piece of old 3x3 fence post and a few old pea sticks. And all sorts goes on. Hunting spiders, parasitic wasps, whose grubs eat the grubs of mason bees, and these mason bees flogging backwards and forwards carrying pollen, mainly oilseed rape at this time of year. They come back sort of bright yellow underneath and pack it away in these little tunnels. And then once it's all done and they've got several larvae in there, they then collect soil and block up the end, and they stay in there quite cosy until May of the following year. Unless of course you've been parasitised by a ruby wasp larvae, in which case you don't emerge. Ruby wasps emerge instead. But it's mason bees, of course, are important pollinators, and they're very nice, cute little things to watch. On a warm, sunny day in May and June, they're very, very busy. And of course, there are many different types of mason bee. See how many you can attract into your garden.